In continuation of my cut content and episode breakdown for That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3, Episode 5 just released, which is titled Two Sides Meeting, and it mainly covers the contents of the military meeting between the forces of the Holy Empire Lubelius and the Western Holy Church from Chapter 3 of the Volume 7 light novel, but the initial parts of Chapter 4 have been adapted into this episode as well. So in today's video, I'll be discussing about the contents that were removed from the episode and provide some insight on the importance of this meeting. As usual, a spoiler warning for anyone that hasn't watched the episode yet or might find the cut content information I mentioned to be spoilers. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Now then, unlike what we see in the anime, there was actually a brief sequence in the light novel that provides some additional context on what happened prior to the meeting. For instance, the meeting takes place a month following Hinata's previous conversation with Luminous, as seen in the previous episode 2, so after their meeting, Hinata immediately ordered the Holy Knights to build a defensive line around their territories in case Valdra starts rampaging again. And she also dispatched members of the Imperial Guards to collect information on Rimuru, his monster nation, and the Eastern merchants who manipulated her. That's why in the episode, the purpose of the meeting itself was to discuss about their findings, but before going over what they presented, the light novel will provide some details on the participants. To explain, the 6 people seen on Hinata's right side are the Holy Knight Order, we have Leonard Zester, the Vice Captain, and followed by Arnold Baumann, rumored to be the second strongest Holy Knight, losing only to Hinata. Then there's Buckets of Earth, a sturdy and quiet man skilled at using magic-infused heavy weapons. Litters of Water, a spirit wielder capable of summoning the power of the Holy Water Maiden Undyne and a skilled healer. Gara of Fire, a powerful mage who wields the bestial Spear of Flame. And the last one is Fritz of Wind, a magic knight skilled at wind magic and dual-wielding swords. He was also said to be quite informal, hence the reason why he wears his uniform casually in the episode, and he looks up to Hinata the most. Now in contrast to the Holy Knight Order, on Hinata's left were the Pope's Imperial Guards who served under the Pope Ministry, and the 3 of them are known as the Battle Sages, with the Vote of Heaven Sare being the leader of this group, and he used to be the head knight in the Imperial Guards, but was replaced when Hinata defeated him in battle. Also, despite his appearance, Sare was actually the oldest person sitting at the table due to the fact that he possesses some elven blood. Next we have the Boulder Grigory, the right-hand man of Sare, and he possesses the ability to harden his own body. The third member is the Turbulent Sea Glenda, who used to be a mercenary, but she joined after defeating the ex-knight Lamar, and she is also the newest member present at the table. In any case, Hinata and the 9 people present will make up the 10 Great Saints, recognized by the world as the opposing force to the Demon Lords, although it's only in name since their true level was a Sage, which is weaker than an actual Saint level human. This means the 10 Great Saints are only slightly weaker or stronger than the Demon Lord Seed, but if you want to know more about the differences between the two, along with the evolutionary stages for the human race of Tensura, feel free to check out my other video on the topic. Back to the meeting, Litters will present her findings after she investigated the Great Jura Forest and the Tempest Federation, and everything she talked about in the episode, along with the following scene of the others presenting the results of their assigned investigations went accordingly as the light novel. Sare was the last to give his report about the civil unrest that is currently taking place in the Farmer Kingdom, and everyone seems to agree all the evidence points to the fact that Rimuru is likely the one manipulating events behind the scene. Also, the light novel will provide some additional points about Sare's character that wasn't really explained in the episode, such as being the biggest Hinata hater, but he is still very responsible when it comes to work, and he does acknowledge her strength because she was able to turn the Holy Knight Order into a powerful organization in a short period of time. That's why Sare still performs his duties with diligence, and even though he plans on fighting Hinata for the position of Head Knight once more, he will resort to using dirty tactics to win. With that said, when Hinata questioned Sare about the Eastern merchants, he redirected the question to Glenda, because she was responsible for investigating the commercial cities where merchants normally do business in. But as seen in the episode, Glenda doesn't have any important information to share, although in the light novel it provides a more detailed look at her character and internalized thoughts during the meeting. Essentially, despite being part of the Battle Sages, she wasn't really a devout follower of Luminism like the other Holy Knights. Rather, her goal is to simply have access to the power and wealth that is offered to high-ranking members of the religion, which is the reason she joined the Battle Sages in the first place. In fact, Glenda saw the possibility of a conflict as a means to earn money, and why she lied to Hinata about her investigations, because she was paid by prominent figures in the commercial cities to spread false information. Glenda also believes that she has managed to trick Hinata, but in the light novel, Hinata already knows that she was lying to her. That's why in the anime she said that Glenda was looking down on her. and since Hinata already suspected the traitor amongst their ranks, she was more cautious of everyone, especially Glenda, because of her recent behavior. The only reason Hinata hasn't eliminated her yet is simply because she considers all her subordinates to be pawns that can be used to help Luminous achieve her goals, and as long as Glenda doesn't do anything to jeopardize that, Hinata will close one eye towards her. Continuing on with the meeting, the following discussion they all had in the anime pretty much followed the light novel, such as the future stance Lubelius would take towards temples, the reaction of the Holy Knights on giving Rimuru free reign to do whatever it pleases, and not interfering with the Farmer Kingdom's civil war. And it was hilarious that Sarah thinks the 10 Great Saints are capable of fighting against the Dim Lords. I mean sure, when Clement, Carrier and Frey were still on the council, they maybe could have defeated them, but with the current octagram being comprised of all awakened Dim Lords, the 10 Great Saints will be outright destroyed in an actual fight. Nonetheless, Hinata tries to calm everyone down by telling them that Rimuru is an otherworlder as well, so he'll likely stick to his promise of not harming humans, and she'll further explain to them about her plans to meet with him to resolve any lingering grievances. Just then, their discussion will be interrupted by the arrival of the Archbishop Rahim, and he was escorted by Cardinal Nikolaus, Hinata's biggest simp. Additionally, 3 of the 7 Celestial Sages had joined the meeting as well, and this wasn't shown in the episode, but the light novel will provide some backstory on them through Hinata's internalized thoughts. To explain, the 7 Celestial Sages are a group of legendary figures who were ordered by Luminous to train chosen hero candidates in the past. However, they have since disappeared from the public eye, choosing to work behind the scenes for Lubelius and the Western Holy Church. That's why even the Holy Knights are unaware of their existence, with only a few high-ranking officials such as Hinata and Nikolaus who have met them in person. But Hinata really dislikes them because despite their position, they have neglected their duties as consultants and became extremely corrupt. Also, Hinata finds them all to be extremely weak, and because she was far stronger than them, the 7 Celestial Sages deeply resented Hinata as they often tried to hinder her work. And the only reason Hinata has tolerated their existence and still pretends to listen to them was due to the fact that they were chosen by Luminous, and she assumes that Luminous might have some other plans for them. Now that wasn't all, the light novel will provide names for the 3 Celestial Sages that were present as well. They were the Sage of Mundana, Sage of Matter Vina, and Sage of Fire Azu, who Hinata said were the most corrupt of the 7. Regardless, Rahim will explain the events of what happened during the Falmouth invasion to everyone, and there wasn't much change in the anime to its overall report. But as Rahim informed them about how the 20,000 Falmouth soldiers had suddenly died, we see Hinata recalls a conversation with Luminous in the episode, but the light novel provided more to it. So when they were talking about Valdra being a catastrophe class monster that even Luminous was unable to control, they mentioned how only individuals labeled at this class were the 4 true dragons, but that's merely a surface record for the public to see, because the Dim Lords Gi Crimson and Milim Nava were also beings at this level. Furthermore, Luminous explains that if she fought them both, she might be able to at least trick Milim, but for Gi, she admitted that she would get utterly destroyed. This ultimately causes Hinata to come to the conclusion that Rimuru has awakened into a true Demon Lord, since the report given by Rahim was similar to the legend of how Gi and Milim evolved as well. The rest of the discussion between the Holy Knights in the episode will proceed accordingly with the light novel, but as Hinata was about to end the meeting and order everyone to continue with their investigations on Rimuru, she was interrupted by the Sage of Fire Azu, who asked Rahim to present the recorded message to Hinata. But after listening to the recording, it was hilarious how Arnold thought that he actually stood a chance against Rimuru by offering to fight the Demon Lord. Nevertheless, Hinata ponders about Rimuru's message, and the light novel will provide a more detailed look at her internalized thoughts. Basically, she realized that Rimuru might have been holding back during their previous fight, because even before he awakened into a true Demon Lord, he was already capable of annihilating the entire Falmouth army, meaning that he intentionally allowed her to win, so she doesn't understand why he chooses now to fight her. She even used her unique skill, Mathematician, to analyze the purpose of his message, but she still couldn't find the answer. That's why in the anime, Hinata was suspicious of the message and noticed how the Sage of Fire Azu had mentioned it beforehand, so wanting to confirm Rimuru's intentions, she decided to visit temples to talk and apologize to him as well. The following interaction between Hinata and the 3 Celestial Sages giving the Dragon Buster to her will happen exactly as the light novel, although there was a small detail of her internally cursing them for being good-for-nothing parasites, and how she plans on informing Luminous of their failures once she resolves the issue with temples. Anyways, Hinata will conclude the meeting and orders everyone to continue with their missions, and before the scene of her departing for temples in the episode, there was a brief moment in the light novel involving her and Nikolaus. And I can't believe the anime robbed us of the fan service moment where Hinata awakens from her nap. Hopefully they won't remove the other future moments with her. But I digress. Hinata will be having breakfast with Nikolaus, which she considers to be abnormal because Nikolaus is supposed to be the highest executive of Lubelius and the Western Holy Church, and yet he has pledged his loyalty to Hinata, taking orders from her and even serving her breakfast. I guess he really is a simp. Regardless, their conversation in the light novel was mostly about Nikolaus trying to convince Hinata to not travel to Tempest, fearing it might be a trap, but she still wishes to talk to Rimuru, so she will soon depart, similar to what we see in the episode. Now, just before the episode ends, we briefly return to Tempest where Rimuru was making preparations for the festival and the road construction projects when he receives a report from Sokka about Hinata heading towards Tempest, and it's such a cute detail in the anime that he extends an antenna like a radio. And not long after, Sokka will inform Rimuru that another 4 Holy Knights are following Hinata, although in the light novel, Rimuru was internally speculating about their intentions, but even though he still hoped for peaceful coexistence, when he learned that they were fully armed, he assumed they really do plan on exerting the doctrines of Luminism on the Tempest. That's why Rimuru prepares to call for a meeting to deploy his forces, but he was interrupted by the arrival of Diablo, who informed him about the death of Rahim and how the neighboring nations had begun to spread the rumor that his death was caused by the schemes of a demon, and much of what Diablo said to Rimuru afterwards pretty much followed the light novel.
日向様、俺が行きます。魔王の野望を打ち砕いてご覧に入れましょう。
おいおい、君は剣の腕は確かだが、頭の方には問題が。
Overall, episode 5 was decent, but it was disappointing that left out some of the important world building and character details, especially the fan service moment of Hinata. But I still enjoyed seeing how overconfident and delusional the 10 great saints are about their own strength. With that said, what are your thoughts on the episode, and do you know about the fan service moment with Hinata? Feel free to share your favorite moments and opinions on the episode down below. Also, if you enjoyed this cut content video, remember to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button for more cut content videos as well. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.